Hello everyone, and welcome to my ASMR Ghost Stories channel. If you enjoy the paranormal, strange experiences, the unexplained, so to speak, then welcome. You've come to the right channel. And all of my stories are told either soft spoken or whispered. So, if you do like that, which I know I do, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and the like button. It lets me know that you are enjoying what you're seeing. And to get the full ASMR experience, go ahead and put on your headphones. Enjoy the candle. Just sit back, relax, and we're going to go ahead and get ready to dive in. So I want to give a little disclaimer first. If you have not seen The Haunting of Hill House, which is on Netflix, you may want to watch it before you listen to this video. It's not like I'm giving a lot away, but I don't want to spoil anything. Now, The Haunting of Hill House is amazing. The characters are incredible. I've watched it 3 times because the first time I watched it, I was just curious and I thought it was fantastic. So I decided to watch it again. And then I told my husband all about it. And so we watched it for a 3rd time. And I love each storyline. There is one scene which I thought was fantastic. It might be episode, excuse me, either 6 or 7. And it's one long shot. So they start filming, and I think I timed it, and it was something before they cut the scene. It was something like 17 minutes, and it was so well done. So like I said, I'm a huge fan of this show, and the main girl that plays Nell in this, her name is Victoria. I'm not sure how to say the last name. Peretti or something like that. She's amazing, and she's also in the other kind of warped TV show called You. Super good. So we're going to go ahead and dive in. So this is an article written about the bent neck lady in the story of The Haunting of Hill House. So, this guy named Jeffrey Zhang wrote this a few years ago, and I might kind of interject some of my own thoughts if needed, but he may tell it perfectly. So the title of it is The Bent Neck Lady, Examining The Haunting of Hill House's Best Episode. Now, if you haven't watched The Haunting of Hill House, it may ruin it for you, so you may want to watch it first. I guarantee you will enjoy it. It's you got your story, your family history, you have a haunted house, and the things that happen to poor little Nell, if you will, and the whole family. But anyway, it's so good. So this is the ballad of Eleanor Crane, which is Nell. The Haunting of Hill House is one of Netflix's best original series. Loosely based upon the 1959 classic Gothic horror novel of the same name by Shirley Jackson, Hill House is deftly adapted by horror veteran Mike Flanagan with equal parts terror, suspense, and melancholy. One of the biggest contributors to to the quality of Netflix's newest ghostly series is the show's 5th episode, The Bent Neck Lady. The episode is not only the best of the series, but one of the best episodes of television in 2018, with tinges of Lost's The Constant and this year's equally masterful The Queen from Hulu's Castle Rock. And so he's even saying major spoilers ahead. So again, if you have not watched The Haunting of Hill House and you don't want any spoilers, stop now. Come back after you've watched all the episodes and you will not be disappointed. I promise. I'll watch it again. So I'll go ahead and continue. The horror genre loves its ghosts. Twisted phantasms that linger, lurch, and lunge. Ghosts have been terrorizing audiences since the beginning of entertainment and cinema. Perhaps it's because they're a relic of the Victorian, a time obsessed with spirituality, seances, and spirit photography. But ghost stories have always lacked a certain modern resonance. It's difficult to come by a truly affecting ghost story. Dusty old nuns, drowned children, and unalived, if you will, unalived caretakers from decades past. They always seem to be in service of the scare and not much else. There are obviously exceptions, but even when films like The Sixth Sense or A Ghost Story come around to surprise and delight us with something new or profound, they're usually on the periphery of the horror genre true. This brings us to the superb new Netflix original series, The Haunting of Hill House. Now, when this article was written, it was done in 2018, which would have marked the time that The Haunting of Hill House came out. A sprawling family drama firmly planted in the confines of gothic ghost horror. Hill House dishes out both poignant storytelling and chilling frights in equal measure, and none more prevalent than the show's haunting 5th episode, The Bent Neck Lady. An almost stand-alone tale. It's an episode that is moving and tragic, wrapped up in a ghostly origin story that will leave your jaw on the floor. Oh, he's certainly right about that. The Haunting of Hill House centers around the Crane family, who move into the eponymous house in the early 90s with the intent to renovate and flip the property. Hugh, Henry Thomas, and Olivia Crane, Flanagan's mainstay, Carla Gugino, I don't know how to say her last name, Gugino, and their 5 children spend the summer sprucing up the old estate, all the while being tormented by dark specters and inexplicable happenings. Their residency at Hill House culminates with a gruesome night that leaves Olivia unalived and Hugh fleeing with the children in tow. I have to stop right there. In this scene, when they are fleeing, because it does go back and forth, I swear I was on the edge of my seat. I could hardly breathe the first time I watched it, because you're like, get out, get out, get out. And, you know, sometimes when you're watching horror films, you know, people trip over nothing, and you feel badly for them. It's almost kind of like the same thing in the movie The Quiet Place. I don't think I could breathe for the entire film. It just left me on edge. But I have to say, in The Haunting of Hill House, there were a few creepy things. I think one of the creepier ones for me as well was watching the real tall, thin, slender entity, if you will, with the bowler hat gliding, but you know, he had feet, but he kind of used his cane to move him along. But how he tormented the twin, which is Nell's twin, I can't remember his name right now, and I thought he was freaky. So yeah, that was like no for me, but it goes well with the story. So let's continue. Over the course of 10 episodes, Hill House follows the adult Crane children with character-centric stories as they deal with the unalivement. I can't say that word, you know. The unalivement of one of their own, while also filling in the blanks of the fateful evening that has haunted them their entire lives. The catalyst for the siblings' reunion takes place at the end of the first episode when the youngest, Eleanor Nell Crane, a fantastic Victoria Pedretti, yes, she's absolutely amazing, returns to the abandoned Hill House and apparently unalives herself. Although she makes a swift exit from the mortal coil early on, Nell and her death remain the emotional crux of The Haunting of Hill House. And when it's her turn to take the spotlight in The Bent Neck Lady, we get to witness some of the best horror and television that 2018 has to offer. Completely upending horror tropes and cliches, The Bent Neck Lady is a masterclass in sharp twists, sheer terror, and heartbreaking tragedy. You see, ever since her stay at Hill House, Nell has been haunted by a ghost she dubs the Bent Neck Lady. With dark, stringy hair, a shadowed face, and a grotesque crook in her neck, this ghastly apparition first appears to little Nell at the foot of her bed at Hill House, always accompanied by a seizing sleep paralysis. The Bent Neck Lady plagues Nell her entire life, even long after the Crane's hurried escape from the dreaded mansion. However, as a young woman, Nell is able to find love and a brief respite from her personal demon in the form of Arthur Vance, whom she eventually marries. A charming sleep technician that helps her manage her sleep paralysis with breathing techniques and therapy that keeps the ghost away, at least for a few years. One evening, the Bent Neck Lady returns with a vengeance, accompanied by a mysterious quote-unquote aneurysm that unalives Arthur instantly. Spiraling into depression and anxiety, Nell's erratic behavior pushes her family away, and finally, off her meds and on the advice of her therapist, she makes her way back to the abandoned Hill House to confront the root of her misery. What follows is a beautiful sequence of Nell traversing the dilapidated rooms of Hill House, where she is greeted by apparitions of her welcoming family and unalived husband. Nell dances with Arthur throughout the house, magically restored to its pristine glory, but in reality, she deliriously prances alone through the dark and abandoned halls. She finally makes her way into the reassuring arms of her unalived mother, who drapes her old necklace around her adult daughter's neck, a necklace that becomes a noose as soon as Nell snaps back to reality. A kiss on the forehead from Olivia sends her daughter off the railing to her unalivement, because I can't say the word, But the haunting of Hill House isn't quite done twisting the knife. Nell, with that oh so familiar bend in her neck, continues to fall. She falls through space and time, with each jolt taking her face to face with herself at all the times the bent neck lady has ever appeared to her, finally letting loose a primal scream as she realizes she has been haunting herself all these years. Oh, it was amazing to see too. It's a viscerally horrifying sequence, but also poetic and tragic. In many ways, the conclusion of the bent neck lady is the anti-twist, the polar opposite of your typical twist ending, where a force-fed swerve is designed solely to shock, regardless of its story or characters. Where your typical horror plot twist expands, detonating mythologies and turning stories on their heads, the narrative of the bent neck lady contracts and narrows, turning a generic haunting and what could have been another ho-hum ghost origin into a tragedy of a much more personal scale. Hill House loves its surface level scares, but it also burrows deep as a complex treatise on love, loss, and trauma. The bent neck lady ends as a moving metaphor for depression and self-harm, a metaphor that would have been infinitely weaker if the phantom turned out to be anyone other than Eleanor Crane herself. Escherian in its simultaneous beauty and dread, The Haunting of Hill House's best episode proves that the horror genre still has plenty of great stories to tell tricks up its sleeve. The end. I thought this was beautifully written. Eleanor Crane's whole role in this TV series, it's almost like you can look in her eyes and you feel her pain. There's a lot of family dynamics that just go back into the past and how it affects each person. It's almost like, it's not that it affected one person over the next more, but little Nell, even when they first moved into the house, I think it was like their first or second night, I'm not sure, she saw the bent neck lady then. It's almost like it traversed her through her entire life. And it was terrifying when you think everything is going well. Then all of a sudden, it's like you freeze just a little bit. And there is that shadow of the bent neck lady. And it's not that the bent neck lady comes like is aggressive, but she's there and you don't know what it is or why she's there. There's no movement. She sometimes comes a little closer. One time, Nell is laying on a settee kind of couch, and she wakes up, and Nell's probably about 7, and you see the stringy hair of the bent neck lady laying over her, and it's kind of coming closer, but not. But that was scary as hell. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, I couldn't watch this show by myself, or not by myself, but at night in the dark. So I was happy when my husband said that he would watch it with me, because he's not a big fan of the horror genre. And there have been other shows that I like. The director, Mike Flanagan, his wife is one of the main characters, one of the main sisters. I'm at a loss for, because the oldest sister is Shirley. Theo, that's her name. That's his wife in real life, and she's played in a few of his films. She's really good too. And Timothy Hutton plays the older father. Henry Thomas plays the father at a younger time. And they just are excellent. I thought they had the best cast, and it really brought the story alive. But when Nell goes back to the house, because I think she realizes that she's got to finish this up, and she goes to the house, and it's kind of boarded up, dilapidated, and then all of a sudden there are the lights that are coming on. I was like, oh, please don't go in the house, please don't go in the house. Well, she goes in the house, but what is, your heart breaks for her, because when she goes in, everything is lit up and warm and beautiful, serene, and knowing in real life she's walking through a place that is full of cobwebs and probably mold and broken boards and ceilings that are just crumbling all around her. It's kind of like that metaphor. And she puts on this beautiful dress because her mother is there. And her mother in the story had unalived herself when the kids were young. And she kind of went crazy in the house. And so her mom is there. And so now she's given a beautiful, like almost like this creamy peach chiffon dress. She sees her husband and her family's there, and the music's playing, and she misses her husband, because he had the quote unquote aneurysm. And they're dancing, and she's just floating through the house. And you're thinking, oh, there's a foreboding. You can feel it. And then as she, dances and waltzes her way through the home, and then kind of goes back and forth to what she's seeing and then what was really there. She's by herself, but she's imagining that she's waltzing through the house and she's happy again with her husband. And somehow she ends up on this, like a balcony. It's kind of a spiral staircase that goes up to it. And the moment that she falls over and like comes to, it goes from scene, it's like she's dropping. It's amazing how it's done. She's dropping and dropping, like level upon level. She just keeps dropping and dropping. And you see her, because up until this point, you see the bent neck lady about 7 times. And so those scenes come back, because it's like when little Nell is laying on the couch, there's the bent neck lady, and it's her. She sees the bent neck lady when she's in the car with her addicted brother, and they're in the rain, and she sees the bent neck lady like across the street in the rain. Well, as she's falling, she sees Nell in the car. Like the whole perspective has changed, and so now you realize the bent neck lady is Nell. I was like, oh my gosh, this was superbly done. You ache for Nell and what she's going through, but then you realize, like the story says, she was haunting herself and she didn't know it. I apologize. My son's in the next room playing and he's kind of loud, but it's okay. He's having fun. So that is the story for today. Have you seen The Haunting of Hill House? Is there another film that you have seen or a TV miniseries that you would like me to discuss? Let me know in the comments below. And I personally love watching, it's not the horror per se. Like, I don't like slasher movies. I'm not into that. Now, I have to say, my husband, on our anniversary every year, we used to watch the Saw movies. So, there's that. But there was something intriguing because you're trying to figure out the puzzle. So, but I don't like slasher movies in general. I prefer, like, Poltergeist. That was my favorite movie when I was 6 years old. I watched it all the time, could lip sync it. And, but if there's a movie or something you want, or you found a really good review on it, or a synopsis, or a discussion, go ahead and comment below. You can also email me. My email is in the description box. If you're interested in, or if you have a movie that you think that I might like and I can discuss it, kind of give my own opinion on it, put it in the comments below. And if I've seen it, I can discuss it as well. But if you are going to send me something that is on the horror genre, I personally like ones that, I don't like jump scares as much. I like the ones that play with your head. There was a movie called The Changeling with George C. Scott. I believe it's not the one with Angelina Jolie, but it was scary because it was done back in the 70s, I think. But it was the music. It was how your mind plays tricks. That's why I like to read horror novels like Stephen King, because the description, my mind just goes all over the place, and it's scarier than what you can watch. So if you have a book, if you have a story, if you have something that you would like in a future broadcast, go ahead and put it in the comments below. Or if you have your own full story, email me and I will take the time and go through it, and I would love to read some stories. So there you have it, a little bit of review. If you get the chance and have not seen The Haunting of Hill House, watch it. I promise. promise you, it is fantastic. And I maybe around Halloween time this year, I'll probably watch it all again if it's still on Netflix, because it's worth it. And but again, if you enjoy this kind of stuff and you want to see future broadcasts, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like. It really lets me know that you are enjoying this, as well as the notification bell. I will be uploading Mondays and Thursdays. And if you have any stories, email me, comment below. And until then, stay just a little scared, and I will see you on the next video. Until then, bye.